The fortune teller said that there is a lone star of heavenly punishment in our family. As long as she is around, everyone else will be doomed. In the first life, our family dismissed this notion with disdain. As a result, a fire broke out in the middle of the night, and the entire family perished. In the second life, Dad decisively divorced Mom and left us all with her. As a result, when he was delivering goods by car, he happened to meet Mom taking us out to eat. The brakes failed, and the whole family became car crash victims, not one missing. The third life, which is now, in the dim light, Dad's face was contorted with rage. He raised the kitchen knife, ready to kill all of us. Don't blame me. Dad leaned against the door, his hands gripping the knife, his eyes bloodshot. I've had enough of these days just waiting to die. You all know how terrible this feeling is, right? Tell me, who is the cursed loner? If you don't speak up, I'll kill every single one of you. Mother sat expressionless in the chair, not even lifting her eyelids. Go ahead, kill me. I've had enough of this life anyway. The light bulb above flickered, and Mother's thin, sallow face alternated between light and shadow under the flickering light. For some reason, her emaciated appearance seemed even more terrifying than my father's ferocious face. My brother held a frying pan in his hand, glaring angrily at my father. Old man, use your brain for once. Even if you kill us, you'll end up getting shot. What's the difference between waiting to die in prison and waiting to die on the scene? Upon hearing this, Dad seemed to break down. He suddenly raised the knife and began slashing wildly at the coat rack by the door. I've had enough of this. Wood shavings flew, and the coat hanger fell to the ground. I tightly held my sister's hand, desperately trying to draw some warmth from her, but her hand, colder than mine, grasping it felt like holding a piece of ice, the chill seeping straight into my bones. Old man, calm down. The older brother held a frying pan, his voice low and steady. The cursed star, it's not you and Mom, I suspect. It's among me and my younger sisters. The most likely ones are the eldest sister and the youngest sister. My hand was suddenly flung away. My sister, her face pale, took 2 steps back, putting distance between us. She stared at me in terror, her face deathly pale. It's not me. It must be my little sister. Yes, it must be her. My brother is the best student in our family, and the only one who is a college student. My sister is in her 2nd year of high school this year, and I'm in my 1st year. Compared to us, my brother's words are obviously more convincing. After listening to his brother, their father, who had been in a frenzy, calmed down considerably. He glanced coldly at me and my sister, but when he looked at his brother, his expression softened. Son, tell me in detail. His brother pulled out a chair and sat down. His eyes wary and alert, he sat bolt upright, one leg fully extended, ready to leap up at any moment. Dad leaned against the door, his hand gripping the knife without a moment's relaxation. My sister, who had been holding my hand just moments before, now huddled alone in a corner, her eyes darting around with a terrified expression. Suddenly, I felt a deep sense of sorrow. Although our family may not be considered very happy, we have had many warm moments. Now, all that remains between family members is caution and suspicion. The fortune teller said that our family's lone star can bring misfortune to all relatives. What are 6 relatives? Parents, siblings, sisters, husband and wife, children, grandparents and grandchildren. If the celestial lone star is between Mom and Dad, then after you divorce and break the marital relationship, there shouldn't be any more incidents. So, this celestial lone star is among us siblings. Blood relations are something that cannot be severed even after 100 divorces. As soon as the words were spoken, the room fell abruptly silent. I could hear Dad's heavy, ragged breathing. His voice was hoarse, his clouded eyes darting restlessly over my brother. Go on, why should your suspicions be cleared? This world has truly gone mad. Once upon a time, my brother was the one my father valued most in this family. My father, like most ordinary rural men, he has a bit of a temper and isn't very patient with children. If you make him angry, he'll scold and hit you, but he also works tirelessly day and night, putting in extra hours. He gives all the money he earns to his mother, keeping only a little for himself to buy cigarettes. It's truly not an easy task for a rural couple to support 3 children in school. Mom hasn't bought new clothes for many years, and Dad's shoes have been worn out and repaired over and over again, yet they have little complaint, especially after my older brother was admitted to university. Dad was overjoyed, saying that my brother is the hope of our family, making him shine with honor, even in death. He would be worthy of our ancestors. I always thought that in my father's heart, my brother was more important than his own life. Now it seems, that's not the case, but I can understand my father. because the feeling of constantly facing death is truly terrifying. The first time I was burned to death, my skin was scorched and curled piece by piece. That pain felt as if even my soul was being scorched. The second time I was hit by a car, I didn't die immediately. My femoral artery was pierced by a steel bar, and blood gushed out like a fountain. I could feel my life force slowly ebbing away, my vision growing darker. The fear and despair were so intense that even now, thinking about it makes me tremble all over. Death is not scary, the process of waiting for death is the most terrifying, and we are constantly repeating this waiting. Now, it's already the third time. Speak up, why isn't it you who's the jinxed loner? Dad brandished the kitchen knife, shouting until his voice was hoarse. He was like a madman on the verge of exploding, the slightest disturbance making him frantic. My brother bit his lip, hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. Because I was the one who brought you back to life, we only have one last chance at rebirth. My brother said he has a rebirth system bound to him. This system gives him 3 chances to be reborn. He doesn't know why all of us have memories from our previous lives, but since he has a system, he absolutely won't be some cursed loner. The room fell into an eerie silence. Mom doesn't have many hobbies. She just likes to listen to free novels on Tomato. She doesn't like using headphones, always playing it out loud on her phone. She listens while cooking, while using the bathroom, while bathing, and even while doing laundry. We are not unfamiliar with concepts like rebirth, systems, and mind reading from novels, but I find it really hard to believe that my brother would have a rebirth system. Yet my father believed it. He held the kitchen knife, his eyes fierce, walking step by step toward us. Xiaoqiu, it's okay, Dad will be quick, it'll be over in a moment, it won't hurt. Father's eyes were filled with murderous intent, yet a smile played at the corners of his mouth. He deliberately lowered his voice, which carried a chilling gentleness. My sister was already crying in fear, huddled in the corner with tears streaming down her face, shaking her head at father repeatedly. Dad, please let me go. Woo woo woo, I don't want to die, I'm afraid of bleeding, the feeling of bleeding is too terrible, I don't want to experience it again. Woo woo woo. Dad had already lost his patience, pointing the knife at my sister, his expression wild. Come here, don't push Dad, you're the older sister, you need to go first, understand? I stood foolishly by the wall, too scared to even cry. My throat felt like it had been stuffed with a piece of burning charcoal, both painful and dry, leaving me unable to utter a sound. Xiaoqiu, you made Dad angry. Dad raised the kitchen knife and strode toward my sister. From beginning to end, Mom sat quietly in her chair without even glancing at us, as if she had already fallen asleep. Ah, a scream rang out. Clang, the kitchen knife clattered to the ground, and Dad, clutching his stomach, turned pale, vomiting white foam and fresh blood incessantly. Sister crouched on the ground, covering her head, crying uncontrollably. Why force me? I just wanted to survive. You? Wah. My brother propped himself up on the table and stood, also starting to foam at the mouth. He stared fiercely at my sister, his gaze sharp and shadowed. Did you poison the food? I suddenly looked up. The burning pain in my throat, as if scorched by charcoal, grew increasingly intense, accompanied by nausea and a desperate coughing fit. I coughed until tears and snot streamed down my face. Unable to stop, my ears seemed muffled, as if covered by something, and my vision was filled with large patches of white light. Vaguely, I heard my brother's angry shout, "Did you pour the paraquat, you stupid bitch?" Her sister's shocked voice echoed in her ears. She clutched her stomach, rolling on the ground, her shrill voice filled with disbelief. Why, I definitely didn't eat that dish of dried vegetables and meat. My brother lay on the ground, barely breathing, and sneered, "Idiot. I put dichlorvos in the seaweed soup." My stomach hurt even more. No wonder the meat and soup tasted bitter during dinner. My parents are both frugal by nature. They would still eat vegetables at home even if they weren't fresh. Sometimes the meat would have a spoiled smell, but my mother would still cook it, just adding more spices to mask the odor. Everyone ate the toxic meal. We're going to die again. Being poisoned is truly unbearable. My chest feels as if gripped by an invisible hand, making it hard to breathe, each breath accompanied by a sharp, stabbing pain. I widened my eyes, straining to look in the direction of my brother and sister. My ears were buzzing, as if countless bees were swirling inside. Dad suddenly laughed. Damn it, I've really given birth to a bunch of debt collectors, all debt collectors. I closed my eyes, swallowed by vast darkness. For the third time, a total wipeout. I suddenly sat up. The sky is still dark, with only a faint hint of pale light in the east. My clothes are already soaked with cold sweat. It clings to the body, damp and Sticky, cold and uncomfortable, I changed my clothes and walked out of the room with an extremely heavy heart. In the living room, my parents and brother were already up. The three of them sat on the sofa in silence, their expressions grim. I walked over to the sofa with a blank expression, my body stiff. Soon after, footsteps could be heard upstairs. My sister came downstairs holding a hot water bottle, huddling her shoulders as she crouched to the side. My brother glanced at her, his tone sarcastic. "Stop all this fuss. We don't have a chance to be reborn. If we die this time, it will be real death, disappearing completely from this world." I couldn't hold back any longer and stood up, looking at them seriously. "The fortune teller said there's a celestial lone star in our family." "What does celestial lone star mean?" "It means everyone else dies while he remains alive. Otherwise, why would it be called a lone star?" Have any of you ever considered that among these three accidents, there's one person among us who actually never died at all? He survived perfectly fine each time, only to be forced to be reborn again, from start to finish. He was acting. You tell me, who exactly is this person? The house was very quiet. It was winter, and the wind outside was strong, making the trees in the yard rustle loudly. Brother lowered his head, his expression unclear. Father sat on the sofa, frowning deeply, his hands constantly twisting his own fingers. Sister huddled in the corner, putting her fingers in her mouth and starting to bite her nails. This was a habit she had since childhood. She would do this whenever she felt nervous, and no matter how many times her parents scolded her, she never changed. I turned my head, slowly shifting my gaze toward my mother. She was hunched over, sitting on the outermost edge of the sofa, her hands gripping the hem of her clothes tightly, the veins on her thin, withered hands bulging, yet her face showed little expression, as if she were about to fall asleep. The first time the house caught fire, the smoke was too thick. I was hit in the waist by a roof beam and died quickly, so I didn't see anything. The first to speak was the older brother. He lifted his face, his gaze sharp, carefully observing our reactions as he spoke. "Our village is a famous ancient settlement in the Jiangnan region. Many houses in the village are wooden structures with centuries of history. There is still a wood-burning stove at home, and my mother usually cooks with that large iron pot. She says that after getting used to the taste of rice cooked on the wood-burning stove, the rice cooked in an electric rice cooker doesn't taste as good, because they need to burn firewood. There is a very small woodshed in the yard. It rained for several days in a row, and the woodshed, which had long been in disrepair, leaked everywhere. My mother couldn't bear to let the firewood go to waste, so she moved it all into the house. To this day, that pile of firewood is still stacked in the corner of the living room. It was because of that pile of firewood that we couldn't escape through the main door. My room is right next to the bathroom, and after discovering the fire, I immediately ran into the bathroom. I originally wanted to get a bucket of water to put out the fire, but by the time I finished filling it, the fire outside was too big, and I couldn't get out." Her sister hugged herself, trembling slightly, as if caught in a very terrifying memory. "The fire was too intense, and soon the faucet stopped producing water. My lungs felt like they were about to burst, my head was pounding, and I really wanted to sleep. When I woke up, I had been reborn." After my sister finished speaking, she and my brother both turned their gazes towards me. Not just them, Mom and Dad also turned to look at me, except for my mother. Everyone else's eyes held undisguised murderous intent. It seemed that if I said even the slightest thing wrong, they would not hesitate to kill me. My heart grew cold, and my eyes felt painfully dry. I was burned to death in my own room. You forgot, my room is right above these piles of firewood. When the fire started, I didn't even have time to escape from my room. My brother's face was cold, his eyes half closed, his voice icy and devoid of any warmth. "Who can prove it?" I suddenly felt a bit angry. "Then who can prove what you and my sister said?" The only ones who could vouch for each other were Dad and Mom, because their room was on the first floor, while the rooms for us three siblings were all upstairs. "Stop arguing." The house was full of black smoke, and you couldn't even see people standing across from each other. Who could tell who was really dead and who was pretending? Dad slammed his hand on the table, stood up, and walked to the dining table to make himself a strong cup of tea. "Now, let's talk about the second time." In fact, the second time, there was even less to say. We were all thrown into the air, and I was dragged under a truck. How could I possibly see where my brother and sister had flown off to? Anyway, when we were thrown into the air, it seemed like we were all heading in different directions. Indeed, my brother said he was thrown to the street corner, and my sister was thrown into a clothing store. No one could see anyone else, and there was no way to know if what the others were saying was true or false. After a long while, my brother let out a sigh. The third time, we were all poisoned. Yes, we were all poisoned. Everyone lay on the ground, vomiting, their vision darkening, falling unconscious. Who has the time to care whether others are truly dead or just pretending? Even if someone is lying motionless on the ground, feigning death, we wouldn't know. We can't keep killing each other. Perhaps only by uniting can we find a way to survive. After my sister finished speaking, my brother sneered with a sidelong glance. What, so it wasn't you who drugged the whole family last time? I stammered as I spoke. Brother, you drugged us too? Dad lost his patience, grabbing his hair and yelling angrily, what are you making a fuss about? From now on, everyone will act separately. I'll move back to live in my grandparents' old house, and your mother will go back to her parents' home, staying with your uncle for a few days. The eldest, second, and third have all gone back to school. I still have tens of thousands of yuan in my card. Xiaoxue and Xiaoqiu each get 5,000. The eldest gets 20,000. Let's not meet unless there's something important. I refuse to believe that, even in this situation, they can take us all down in one go. My father's words took me by surprise. I used to think he was short-tempered, impulsive, and hot-headed. Now it seems he's not that stupid after all. My sister cautiously raised her hand. Dad, it's winter break now, right? It's winter break now, and the three of us siblings have nowhere to go. That's easy. I'll find a part-time job for the winter break and do some odd jobs. Restaurants are all doing well now, and they're looking for part-time help everywhere. I'll find one that provides accommodation. You two can also work at a milk tea shop. If there's really no other option, staying at a youth hostel will do. With a wave of his hand, my brother arranged the destinations for all three of us. Neither my sister nor I objected. It's better to escape on our own than to live in constant fear of being killed by our family. I don't agree. Her voice hoarse, her expression haggard. Mother spoke. If that cursed loner is really that powerful, separation will only lead to a quicker death. Wouldn't it be better for everyone to unite, gather together, and help each other? As a mother, seeing you siblings turn against each other, my heart, Mother couldn't continue and covered her face, wailing loudly. Is this family really going to fall apart like this? My sister suddenly laughed. The laughter was shrill, sounding less like laughter and more like crying. Unity for what? Stop acting. Every New Year, when Dad and my brother eat chicken legs and my sister and I eat chicken wings, why don't you talk about unity then? Do you know how much I want to eat a chicken leg? Mom was stunned, her eyes filled with disbelief. Xiaoqiu, how could you have such an idea? Other girls in the village don't even have meat to eat. Haven't your parents been good enough to you? Many girls drop out of school to work after finishing junior high, but your dad and I have supported you through high school. She grew more agitated as she spoke, her voice gradually rising in pitch. You can still eat chicken wings, while I, your mother, have eaten chicken necks, chicken breasts, and chicken feet my whole life. I think it's because I've been too good to you that I've raised such an ungrateful wretch. My sister was unconvinced. She widened her eyes, clenched her fists, and her cheeks flushed bright red with anger. Then why don't you eat the chicken leg? You work so hard every day, earning money and doing housework. Why don't you eat the chicken leg? You've been kneeling your whole life, and now you want us to kneel too. What gives you the right? Dad hates hearing us argue the most. He directly smashed the cup in his hand, sending cheap, broken tea leaves scattering all over the floor. If you keep arguing, all of you can get out. I've worked so hard to raise you, and now I've ended up raising enemies. If you're so capable, don't ask me for money anymore. Go support yourself. Get out of here. Her sister stormed back to her room, fuming, and within minutes dragged a large bag downstairs. Xiaoxue, are you coming or not? This family only has two losers. Do you still want to stay here and watch their faces? Sister has some private savings. Our parents give our brother 2,000 for living expenses every month, and only 200 to us. Fortunately, the cafeteria offers free rice and soup, so with 50 yuan, we can still get by. Her sister's grades were excellent, and she was also very intelligent. She often helped classmates write their exams, and even passed cheat sheets during tests. Through these means, she managed to save several thousand yuan in private savings, but I didn't have that. I was not smart, struggled with my studies, and couldn't make money. The allowance from my parents is barely enough for me to eat. If I go out to work like this, I might starve to death. I timidly shook my head. I'll think about it again. Sister's departure signaled a beginning. Dad, brother, and Mom each went back to their rooms to pack their things, only I didn't know where to go. I didn't have a single cent in my pocket, and the bus to town cost 3 yuan. Dad, can you give me before I could finish, my dad rode off on his motorcycle, leaving behind a trail of choking exhaust fumes. My brother, afraid that I would ask him for money, ran off without even drinking a sip of water. I awkwardly walked up to my mom, who looked at me with undisguised hatred in her narrow eyes. You blame me for not giving you the chicken leg, don't you? I shook my head. Mom, I don't blame you. Mom crossed her arms and sneered coldly. Yeah, what right do you have to blame me? I earned the money, I bought the chicken, and I worked hard to cook the meal. You don't see my hard work. All you care about is the money. Your brother will have to support us in our old age, so what's wrong with treating him better? I don't quite know what to say. Mom raised us to be so big, supported our education, and provided us with food and shelter. Although we didn't have chicken legs to eat, we had chicken wings at home. She was the one who ate the worst, used the worst, and worked the hardest. My sister and I, it seems, cannot blame her, but thinking about how she treated us differently from our brother since we were young, it's hard for me to feel grateful to her. I think my mother is right. Maybe I'm just an ungrateful person. After venting her anger on me, my mother rode away on her bicycle. I was left alone at home. As it grew darker, I locked the courtyard and the house doors, and suddenly felt a bit scared. The house was too big, and it seemed like anyone could hide anywhere. Firewood shed, kitchen, toilet. I carefully checked the doors and windows several times before returning to the room with unease. My stomach growled with hunger, but I had no appetite for food. I knew my sister had always been dissatisfied with our parents and brother. She often complained to me, asking why my brother didn't have to do housework, while the two of us had to sweep, wash clothes, and cook after school. Every year, my brother got new clothes, while my sister and I had to wear hand-me-downs from relatives. My brother had many toys, but the toys my sister and I had were dolls we made ourselves. The more I heard, the more resentment I felt towards this family. Often fantasized about leaving home far away once I grew up and started working, but when I was the only one left at home, this resentment disappeared. I felt like I no longer had a home. The sky is vast, the earth is vast, yet the world felt like it was just me alone. In a lonely environment, people are particularly prone to letting their thoughts wander. As I was lost in thought, a sudden chill ran down my spine. I realized who the cursed loner was. It was him. I sat up excitedly, deeply regretting that I didn't have a phone. In this family, everyone, Mom, Dad, my brother, and my sister, has a phone, except for me. No, I have to find a way to tell them. Click, there seems to be some noise downstairs. Could it be that Mom and Dad are back? I immediately jumped out of bed and ran to the window without even putting on my shoes. A thick layer of fog had condensed on the window. I wiped away the mist with my finger and saw a person standing in the yard. This is a man of exceptionally tall stature, dressed in a black down jacket, wearing a black beanie and a mask. He almost completely blends into the night. A cold glint flashed briefly in his hand. Only then did I see clearly that he was holding a dagger in his hand. Oh no, there's a thief in the house. No, our village is an ancient settlement, and the government has strictly prohibited any demolition. Not only is demolition forbidden, but to preserve its original appearance, many modern facilities cannot be used. There isn't even a single decent streetlight in the village, let alone any surveillance cameras, because it's far from the town. Families with better conditions have long since moved away, leaving only some elderly widows and widowers, and, like us, the poor, our pockets are emptier than our faces. There's nothing worth stealing. Which thief would deliberately drive around several loops of mountain roads just to steal from our village? He's here for our house. No, that's not it. Today, I'm the only one at home. He's coming for me. He knows I'm home alone. I can't let him sneak in. Without hesitation, I pushed open the window and screamed at the top of my lungs, "Help, thief, help, help." Mom's left ear isn't very good, so you have to speak loudly to her. That's why everyone in our family usually talks as if they're shouting. Over time, my voice has also become louder and louder. In the quiet mountain village, this shout was truly earth-shattering. The black-clad man suddenly looked up at me, then turned and ran without hesitation. Soon after, the roar of a motorcycle echoed from the village entrance. Lights flickered on in nearby houses, dispelling the vast darkness. Grandma Chen from next door came to my room and knocked on the door. When she learned that both my parents were out and I was home alone, she kindly invited me to stay at her house. Grandma Chen's husband passed away a few years ago, and her two children both work in other cities, leaving her alone at home. As I lay in the warm bed, my tense muscles gradually relaxed. So much happened that day. My mind was a tangled mess, with countless fragments flying around, making it impossible for me to sort out my thoughts. My head hurts. Why did that man come to my house today? Does he hold the dagger to kill me? But why? I'm just an ordinary high school student. penniless. Why would he want to kill me, although I've died 3 times? Each time was due to being cursed by a lonesome star. Wait, what if I wasn't killed by the curse of the lone star? The more I think about it, the more something feels off. The first time I died, that pile of firewood was wet. How did it catch fire so easily? The second death, Dad said his brakes failed. He took great care of that car, and his friend owned a repair shop. He often went to his friend's place to hang out and have his car checked. It had been driven for many years without any issues, so why did it fail on that particular day? What's even stranger is why my mother's friend would just happen to invite our whole family out to eat at that exact time. Our family wasn't well off, and we wouldn't eat at a restaurant even once a year. And then there was the third time. My brother and sister poisoned the food, but I remember the pesticide at home was already used up. What if all 3 disasters were man-made? There is no such thing as a cursed loner. Someone has been trying to use this excuse to take the lives of our entire family. I'm afraid even the fortune teller was arranged by him. Who exactly is this person? The man just now. His silhouette was also very familiar. He was too tall, with broad shoulders. Such a build is not common around here. I have definitely seen him. I didn't fall into a daze until it was almost dawn. When I got up the next day, my head was splitting with pain, and when I opened my mouth, my voice was frighteningly hoarse. It seems I caught a cold from the chill last night. Grandma Chen was very worried. Xiaoxue, if you have a cold, you should lie in bed and rest properly. Why do you insist on going out? I smiled at her gratefully. Grandma, there are still things to do at home. I need to go find my parents. Grandma and Grandpa's old house is at the end of the village. Mom's hometown village is a bit far from ours, and you have to take a bus to get there. As for me, I don't have a single cent, so I had no choice but to go find Dad first. What did you say? The curse of the lone star is fake. Someone wants to kill our family. After hearing this, Dad rolled his eyes with great disdain. You've always been the dumbest in the family since childhood. Your brother and sister could easily get good grades just by studying casually. You're the most hardworking, yet you have the worst grades. You say the loneliest star is fake, but what about reincarnation? Is reincarnation fake too? I don't understand what these two things have to do with each other. It's not like the loneliest star made us reincarnate. Go away, go to the side, don't stay by my side. I stubbornly stood in the yard, refusing to leave. I'm not going, I'll get killed alone, and I don't have a single penny. Dad reached out to hit me, and I stubbornly stretched my neck, offering my face to him. Anyway, I'll be killed sooner or later. Go ahead, hit me, kill me if you want. Dad was speechless, reluctantly lowering his hand with 1,000 words unsaid. Use your pig brain to think. Who would go to such great lengths to kill us? We have no grudges, and the family has no money. All right, you can go. I'll give you $1,000. With Dad being this way, Mom probably won't be any better. I suddenly decided not to go to them. I'm going to find that fortune teller. In our small town, there's a park called Tashan Park, where a large group of fortune tellers often gather. There are those who divine by analyzing characters, those who practice divination, those who read faces, and even those who calculate based on the 8 characters of one's birth. Perhaps they might have some news about him. I took the money and, without even eating breakfast, boarded the bus to town. Because of the headache, I even took a nap in the car. By the time I arrived at Tashan Park, it was already past 9 in the morning. The morning exercisers in the park had already dispersed, leaving only a few mothers pushing strollers and strolling around. Oh dear, your fate is truly a bitter one. A sigh came from not far away, the voice carrying a hint of familiarity. A crowd had gathered around an ancient pagoda ahead, seemingly watching the spectacle. I tiptoed to look inside and saw the fortune teller. He had set up a fortune-telling stall, with a woman in her 30s sitting across from him. In your lifetime, you will have to marry at least 4 husbands. Each husband will cost you money and treat you poorly. Alas, all the suffering in your life comes from men. At this, the woman burst into tears. Master, I just want a home, someone who cares for me, not someone with a lot of money. Is that too much to ask? The fortune teller shook his head, his face full of sympathy. The romantic encounters in your fate are all tainted with the red beauty misfortune. They will only bring you trouble. The auntie next to her listened with rapt attention, not forgetting to interject. Miss, is he accurate in his calculations? The middle-aged woman nodded vigorously, her eyes red. Accurate. My first husband was lazy and gluttonous, and he would beat me when he was drunk. The second husband, I only found out after we got married that he had a mountain of gambling debts. I worked as a nanny, and all the money I earned went to paying off his debts. now it's the third husband, and all the houses in the village were built with my money, but now he's got a lover on the side and wants a divorce. Wah!" The auntie was stunned, and her question echoed the thoughts of the onlookers. "Why don't you just live on your own? Here, the wages for confinement nannies are really high, over 10,000 a month, you can earn money yourself, living alone would be so comfortable." The middle-aged woman frowned. "How do you manage on your own? A woman without a man is incomplete, with a man, there's a home." The aunt was speechless, rolling her eyes. "No wonder you have such a hard life, serves you right." The middle-aged woman was unhappy and started arguing with the older woman. The argument nearly overturned the fortune-telling stall. The fortune-teller, fearing trouble, abandoned his stall and ran away. I followed closely behind him and, taking advantage of his distraction, grabbed his sleeve. "Stop right there." The fortune-teller turned his head and saw me, startled. "Where did you come from, little girl?" I glared at him, gripping my clothes tighter, afraid he might run away. "You were at our house just the other day, saying there was a cursed Lone Star in our family." The fortune-teller was taken aback for a moment, then suddenly understood, stroking his beard and nodding. Exactly. The feng shui of your home is extremely inauspicious. That cursed Lone Star is truly formidable, it even altered the feng shui of your home." I'm increasingly convinced he's talking nonsense. "Then tell me, who is that Lone Star of heavenly calamity?" The fortune-teller scratched his head. "I was just outside the door, looking from a distance, and I really couldn't make out who it was, but anyway, it's not you, little girl." I bit my lip and looked at him seriously. "You said that the lonesome star kills all relatives. So can you also see that I'm about to die?" The fortune-teller was stunned and forcefully pulled his sleeve out of my grasp. "What nonsense are you talking about? Even the most powerful lone star of misfortune doesn't immediately kill someone. Clash and subdue are different. Subdue is a gradual process, understand? It's normal to subdue someone over 10 or 8 years. Alright, you little girl, stop arguing, I have things to do." After saying that, he turned and left, and this time I stood still without chasing after him, because the question I wanted to know the answer to had already been answered. It took me quite an effort to find my sister near the school. Instead of working a job, she had set up a stall selling snacks, and business was quite good. I'm a bit envious. My sister is really capable, much better than me. Seeing me, my sister frowned. "What are you doing here?" She carefully examined my thick, clumped-up cotton jacket and pulled me over to the snack stall. "All right, you're just in time. Perfect timing to help me out." Half of the stall sold Odin, while the other half offered roasted sausages and warm pear soup. The misty haze quickly dispelled the chill from my body. By the time we finished selling everything, I was already sweating profusely from my forehead. Finally, my sister handed me 50 yuan. "Here, this is your wages for today. If you have nowhere to stay, you can work for me here." My heart softened, and I couldn't help but feel my eyes welling up. Even though my sister drugged me last time, I don't hold any resentment toward her. She never orders me around or treats me like a servant. Unlike my brother in this house, she is my only ally. "Sis, I'm here to save you. I know who the real loner of misfortune is." After hearing my words, my sister fell silent for a long time. "Sis, should we call the police?" She grabbed my hand, a mocking smile playing at the corner of her lips. "Call the police? Silly girl, our good days have only just begun." What happened next was more surreal and bizarre than any movie. Both my father and brother were dead, killed in a car accident. At the time, my father's car was carrying my brother, and they were about to go out to eat together. In the other car was my mother and a strange man, not entirely unfamiliar. In fact, that man was a friend of my father's, the one who ran the auto repair shop. At the same time, he was also the black-clad intruder who broke into my house at night. They both died in the car accident together. A car accident, for lives lost. The police told us that when she died, my mother was already pregnant. I think the child in her womb was the lone star of heavenly calamity. The fortune-teller spoke of, "The loner star is real." Mother wanted to use this belief to create accidents, and it's true that she wanted our whole family to die. Brother's rebirth system is also real. The only thing fake is this seemingly ordinary and warm family under the calm surface. The undercurrents have long been surging. Mom and Dad have a very poor relationship. The mechanic was Mom's first love. Back then, Dad fell for Mom and relentlessly persuaded her parents, offering a high dowry to marry her. After getting married, he resented my mother for demanding such a high bride price and beat her every day. My mother's deafness was caused by his beatings. Although our mother gave birth to us, she resented us. She hardly spoke to the family. just silently worked and did household chores, because Dad always protected my brother. She only made us sisters help her with the work. During the new year, she wouldn't eat chicken wings because my older sister was always the one responsible for plucking the feathers from the chicken. She wasn't very patient, so half of the feathers on the chicken wings were left unplucked. Mom found it disgusting and never ate them. This is the truth about our family. I yearned for their love so much that I kept embellishing it in my memories. I wanted to convince myself that I was also loved. What a pity. Mom is pregnant. Last month, I saw her secretly hiding in the kitchen, vomiting. My maternal grandparents passed away a couple of years ago, and my paternal grandparents are also gone. Mom was pregnant with her lover's child and was determined to divorce Dad. Dad disagreed. That night, as I slept, I heard their muffled arguments. Dad threatened Mom, saying he would kill her if she dared to divorce him. Mom remained silent. That night, the intent to kill wasn't just in Dad's heart. Mom used all her savings to buy accident insurance for all of us. Now that she's gone, the insurance is still in effect. Moreover, both Dad's and Mom's lovers' cars are insured. My sister and I have become the sole heirs to these assets. All the money was in hand, totaling $8 million. My sister generously gave me half. I don't know how she arranged for both Mom and Dad to go to the same restaurant and tampered with their cars. All I know is that, thanks to my sister, I lived a good life. Sis, I'll tell you a secret. The secret is, I know your secret. I winked at my sister and, under her astonished gaze, hummed a tune as I headed to the kitchen to cook. On the day our parents argued, my sister didn't sleep either. The day our mother vomited, my sister also saw it. She also knew about the relationship between our mother and her first love. That fortune teller was the one my sister brought in. She wanted our mother to believe that the child in her womb was a lone star, to have the child aborted, and to maintain family stability. I just never expected that, in order to be with her lover, my mother would rather choose to let us all die. Everyone in our family, from top to bottom, is utterly selfish. They all say I'm the dumbest one in the family. Well, I'm happy to be the fool. In foreign movies, it's usually the dumbest and the smartest ones who survive, isn't it? After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see why country's richest person searching for their abducted son has become a hot topic. My best friend excitedly told me after seeing the photo posted by the richest person that her boyfriend has a birthmark identical to the one on the richest person's son, and indeed, her boyfriend has a somewhat exotic look. She asked me if she should have her boyfriend go to Y country to claim kinship. I calmly analyzed for her, Y country is not safe, and besides, claiming kinship based solely on a birthmark seems a bit too hasty. My best friend relayed my words to her boyfriend. Finally, her boyfriend gave up on claiming his family ties. A month later, news came that the richest person in country Y was critically ill, with billions in inheritance left unclaimed, destined to be donated to charity. My best friend, driven mad by work, teamed up with her boyfriend to stab me 18 times. It's all your fault. If you hadn't stopped us from claiming our family ties, my boyfriend could have inherited billions, and I could have become the wife of a billionaire heir. Opening my eyes again, I had been reborn back to the day when my best friend excitedly asked me whether she should let her boyfriend go to claim his family. Shinshin, do you think you should go or not? In the rental apartment plastered with overdue notices, my best friend Luo Nyenyen bit her finger and spoke with difficulty. In my previous life, Y country, after the news broke that the richest man was searching for his kidnapped son, Luo Nyenyen excitedly came to me, saying that her boyfriend Zhou had a matching birthmark. Zhou was originally an orphan, and look at how he resembles a mixed-race person. I'm absolutely certain he's the kidnapped son of that billionaire. Luo Nyenyen and Zhou immediately fell into a dream of inheriting billions. For safety reasons, I collected a large amount of information and even sought out many case analyses. It indicates country Y has many cases of human trafficking, specifically using such gimmicks to lure people into pyramid schemes, and in severe cases, there is even the possibility of having one's heart, lungs, or kidneys harvested for organ matching. After I said this, Luo Nyenyen and the other person immediately began to have second thoughts, but after that, whenever their lives faced the slightest setback, they would claim that I was hindering their financial luck. At first, it was just making me pay the overdue water and electricity bills, and later, it escalated to the rent. What's even more outrageous is that I had to pay for their condoms, and when I refused, Luo Nyenyen went to the rooftop of my company, crying and making a scene. Chen Xian, back when your father almost beat you to death, I was the one who took you home and gave you food to eat. Now that I'm in trouble, you won't even help me with such a small favor. Because of this incident, I was labeled as having poor conduct and missed out on a promotion. I wanted to confront Luo Nianyan, but I happened to hear the news that the richest person in country Y had passed away, leaving billions in inheritance to charity. That day, Luo Nianyan, in collusion with Zhou Yu, locked me in a pitch-dark basement and stabbed me to death with a knife. They shredded my body and flushed it down the sewer, then they lived a carefree life using the savings from my salary card. Thinking of this, the chill around me instantly intensified. It wasn't until I felt the sharp pain from digging my nails into my palm that I snapped back to reality. I nodded with a smile, indicating that Zhou Yu could give it a try. Luo Nianyan's eyes lit up as she tentatively spoke up. Xin, do you think I should go with Zhou Yu? I was stunned for a moment, then laughed. If you want to go, just go. With Zhou Yu there, he will definitely protect you. Luo Nianyan immediately beamed with a happy smile, but soon her face fell, and she anxiously twisted her fingers. But I didn't even finish college. What if the richest person in country Y looks down on me and arranges a marriage alliance for Zhou Yu, although I'm much prettier than those women from Y country? I'm still worried. Xin, hurry up and help me think of a solution. She shook my hand, her eyes filled with anxiety. It seemed as if Zhou Yu really was the kidnapped son of the Y country billionaire. I quickly spoke up to comfort her. If you're really that worried, you can go ahead and get your marriage certificate with Zhou Yu first. This way, you two will be legally married, and no matter what happens, you'll be the wife of a billionaire heir. Why didn't I think of that? Luo Nianyan slapped her thigh, quickly changed her clothes, and headed out the door. Before leaving, she didn't forget to shove the overdue bills for her and Zhou Yu into my hands. You cover it for me first. Once Zhou Yu and I inherit the family fortune, you won't be left out when the time comes. After she left, I quickly found a moving company. In my previous life, because I was afraid that Luo Nianyan might get into trouble living with Zhou Yu, I endured the poor environment of this rundown neighborhood and moved next to them, but Zhou Yu was just an unemployed loafer, and the two of them often argued over money. It always ended with Luo Nianyan running to my house. It's just that every time she comes, she takes all my newly bought things. Zhou Yu is even more shameless, moving into my house under the pretense of apologizing. Not only does he keep the air conditioning on 24/7, but he also uses my phone to order takeout every time I get my paycheck. The two of them managed to spend it all. Thinking of this, I immediately started helping the movers. I don't want to stay in this godforsaken place for another second. After moving to the new house, I enjoyed 2 brief days of leisure. Then I received Luo Nianyan's distress call. Xin, my parents are going to beat me to death. Come quickly. My heart skipped a beat, and after agreeing, I turned off my phone. It wasn't until nightfall that I leisurely made my way to the Luo family's house. As soon as I entered, I saw Zhou Yu with his yellow hair, slouching on the sofa smoking, while Luo Nianyan hid behind him, holding a suitcase. Are you a turtle? You're so slow. Seeing me arrive, Luo Nianyan stepped forward, linked her arm with mine, and gritted her teeth in dissatisfaction. I awkwardly smiled and said, the company was too busy today. Seeing this, Mr. and Mrs. Luo immediately spoke up, stating that even if I pleaded today, they would not allow the two of them to get married. Upon hearing this, Luo Nianyan exploded, you're just snobs. When Zhou Yu returns after being recognized by his family, you'll regret it. After saying this, Mr. Luo was so angry that he fainted. In the chaos, Luo Nianyan took advantage of Mrs. Luo's distraction, snatched the household register, and dragged Zhou Yu away. I'm definitely getting married, and when the time comes, don't come crying and begging me. Luo Nianyan's parting words left her mother wailing incessantly. That very night, both of Luo's elderly parents were rushed to the hospital. No matter how many times the hospital called her, Luo Nianyan refused to answer, instead leaving the responsibility to me. No matter what, my parents are your benefactors. Taking care of them for a few days, isn't that your duty? These past few days, Luo Nianyan has been busy handling visa matters. Her social media feed is filled with posts flaunting luxury goods, and even the places she frequents have become more upscale. It doesn't take a genius to guess that this is all funded by maxing out credit cards. That day, I was just about to visit Luo Nianyan's parents in the hospital. As soon as I reached the entrance, Luo Nianyan suddenly rushed out and grabbed me. She looked at me with hopeful eyes, taking out a passport with my photo on it. How did you get my passport? I frowned, a bad feeling stirring in my heart, seeing me reach out to snatch it. Luo Nianyan waved her arm, but her words plunged me into an icy abyss. I've already bought the tickets, of course, to have you accompany us to Country Y, who allowed you to buy tickets for me without my consent. I practically spat out these words through gritted teeth. Seeing my intense reaction, Luo Nianyan's face instantly fell. Chen Xian, what do you mean by that? I kindly bought you a plane ticket, and you're yelling at me. I invited you along as a favor. But perhaps you knew there was something fishy going on and deliberately tricked Zhou Yu and me into going. Luo Nianyan eyed me suspiciously, her gaze filled with distrust. Even Zhou Yu beside me now wore a doubtful expression and spoke up, saying that if they were going, I had to go too. Xin, neither of us even finished college, let alone going to country. Why? We don't even speak the language there. Just think of it as helping us out. At most, we'll split a few tens of thousands with you then. Luo Nianyan crossed her arms, as if this trip to country Y was some great favor bestowed upon me. After a long while, I suppressed the coldness in my eyes, smiled, and nodded. All right, then I'll go back and prepare. Luo Nianyan and the other person exchanged surprised glances and quickly agreed. 2 days later, I arrived at the airport smoothly at the agreed time. Unlike before, the clothes I wore had become more revealing, so much so that the moment I appeared, Zhou Yu's gaze never left me. This made Luo Nianyan very dissatisfied. Chen Xian, we're going to country Y, and it's quite chaotic over there. Aren't you afraid of becoming an appetizer for those men, dressed like that? She looked me up and down, her gaze finally settling on the prominent peaks of my chest. Looking down at her own plain figure, her anger was on the verge of erupting. Nian, we have brother Zhou here, he'll definitely protect us. Besides, it's my first time meeting the richest man, I should dress up nicely to make a good impression on him, right? After saying that, I deliberately tugged at the collar of my shirt and picked up my phone to take a photo. Upon hearing my words, Zhou Yu nodded vigorously, patting his chest to assure us that he would protect us. Now, Luo Nianyan was even more displeased. After all, in her mind, she was the only daughter-in-law of the wealthiest family. She had no intention of letting someone like me, who was living under someone else's roof, muddy her future. The next second, Luo Nianyan stepped forward, slapped my phone out of my hand, and looked at me with disgust. Dressed so provocatively, if you're not afraid of trouble, I am. Zhou Yu and I are going to meet our relatives, not for you to chase after the rich. After saying that, she snatched my plane ticket, tore it to pieces, and stomped on it under her feet, dragging Zhou Yu along without looking back, heading towards the ticket checkpoint. You'd better not go, this is our family matter, and it has nothing to do with you, an outsider. I pretended to be aggrieved and bit my lip, which made Zhou Yu unable to look away even more. After all, Zhou Yu was essentially a playboy at heart. As long as a woman gave him the slightest hint of seduction, he would eagerly come forward. Seeing this scene, Luo Nianyan stomped her feet in anger, but thinking of the billions in inheritance, she could only swallow her pride in the end. The two of them were gone for half a month. That day, I had just gotten off work when Luo's parents, who were supposed to be in the hospital, seemed to have lost their minds and blocked my way. Before I could even speak, Luo's mother grabbed my clothes and growled at the crowd. This is a high-ranking executive from a big company, doing all sorts of shady things behind the scenes. I frowned and was about to explain when Luo's father clutched his chest, groaning, ouch, ouch, and slumped to the ground. The two of them played off each other, and soon I became the center of attention. Auntie, what are you all doing here? I frowned, somewhat displeased, but my words fell on Luo's mother's ears, and she tightened her grip, shoving me forcefully. She roared, our Luo family is cursed. Nian kindly took you in, and what happened? You encouraged her to run off to Y country. Chen Xian, everything you have today is thanks to our Luo family. Tell me, did you sell Nian because you want to take over everything that belongs to her? I was pushed and stumbled a few steps back. Soon, a crowd of onlookers had gathered around us. Now that Y country is in such chaos, how can there still be young girls going there for tourism? Didn't you hear? It's all because of this woman's instigation. Otherwise, who would go to Y country? If you ask me, the ones you should be most wary of these days are your so-called best friends. Sigh, this young girl looks so pretty, who would have thought her heart could be so malicious? Everyone spoke one after another, quickly pinning the blame on me. I stepped forward and gently took Mrs. Luo's hand, wanting to explain, but she forcefully shook me off. She closed her eyes, plopped down on the ground just like that, and began wailing while slapping her thighs. Chen Xian, you ungrateful wretch, have you forgotten who gave you a bite to eat? Who helped you get into college? Everything you have today is thanks to our Luo family. You knew perfectly well how chaotic country Y is, yet you still encouraged Nian to follow that troublemaker Zhou Yu to country Y to find her relatives. It's all a scam. How could you not know that? In her agitation, Mother Luo stood up and slapped me hard across the face, digging my nails into my palms. I tried to calm myself down and immediately reported a missing person case, but my way of handling it only made Mrs. Luo even more dissatisfied. Don't think that calling the police will clear you of any responsibility. You just want to drive Nian away so you can monopolize the love of me and Nian's father, don't you? Let me tell you. No way, you're just a dog raised by the Luo family. Dream on if you think you can replace your master. She spat at me fiercely, showing no trace of her former gentleness. I suppressed the bitterness in my throat and played the voice message Luo Nian sent me after getting off the plane on speakerphone. Luo Nian's excited, boastful voice clearly reached everyone's ears. Chen Xian, I told you Zhou Yu is the kidnapped son of the richest man, didn't I? We've already gotten into a luxury car and are heading to the villa, you shameless bitch. How dare you try to seduce Zhou Yu right in front of me? Just wait until I get back, I'll teach you a lesson. The voice message finished playing, and the surroundings instantly fell into dead silence. The next second, the crowd erupted in an uproar, their expressions shifting slightly as they looked at Luo's parents. They hadn't expected Luo Nian to take the initiative to send me a voice message, and had planned to slip away in the chaos, but I stopped them with a smile, turning to the arriving police and saying coldly, Uncle and Aunt, since Nian is missing, of course this matter should be handed over to the police to handle. The farce finally ended with several of us going to the police station to give statements, but the video from that day still sparked quite a discussion online, and I became the target of the netizens' criticism. Almost every few days, I would receive dead rats and blood-stained dolls. Even at work, I could be surrounded by various self-media influencers. I thought Luo Nian had truly met with misfortune in country Y, until I accidentally came across her alternate account on social media. The IP address was clearly within the country, and in the very city we are in now. Thinking of this, I tentatively called Luo's mother, suggesting that I accompany her to the police station again to inquire about the situation. What I got was Luo's mother's firm refusal to verify my suspicion. I drove to the Luo family's house with the rear camera on. When she opened the door and saw it was me, Luo's mother's face clearly showed panic, and she glanced at Luo Nian sitting on the sofa out of the corner of her eye. I was just about to speak when suddenly there was a dull pain in the back of my head. As I turned around, I happened to meet Luo Nian's sinister face. Her mouth opened and closed, her tone icy cold. Chen Xian, with you as the kidney donor, I'll soon be living the high life. Draw a little more, we must leave no room for error. Our future depends entirely on this tube of blood. I was awakened by a needle prick. When I lifted my eyelids, the first thing I saw were Luo Nian and Zhou Yu. Seeing that I was awake, Luo Nian was about to give me a sedative, but Zhou Yu stopped her. What the gentleman wants is a healthy body. What if your sedative damages her? Zhou Yu frowned as she spoke. Upon hearing this, Luo Nian stomped her foot and shot me a fierce glare. I threw the phone I brought onto the ground, stomped on the cracked screen, and sneered, You think you can record evidence with a broken phone? Dream on, Chen Xian. Did you think we would die abroad? Unfortunately, the billionaire has already acknowledged Zhou Yu as his son. However, the old man now needs a kidney donor. With this kidney, we'll be set for the rest of our lives. Who would have thought that after searching for so many people to match, the most suitable one was right beside us all along? Luo Nian looked me up and down, as if the trillion-dollar inheritance was already waving to her. I frowned, my hand hanging by my side tightening slightly. I stiffened my neck, trying to reason with her. Luo Nian, what you're doing is illegal. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the police. Slap. The crisp sound of the slap instantly silenced the entire basement. Luo Nian forcefully lifted my chin with her fingertips and flung it to the side, then kicked me in the stomach, looking down at me from above. Call the police. Chen Xian, this is all you owe me. Once the contact arrives, I'll be the wife of a billionaire heir. Her eyes were filled with unconcealable smugness. Perhaps still unsatisfied, she kicked me several more times with the tip of her shoe. Only then did she hum a tune and leave contentedly. The moment the door closed, memories of being stabbed to death in my previous life came flooding back. The same scene, the same people. I had clearly avoided this matter, but Luo Nian was like a persistent female ghost, seemingly determined to drag me into everything to be satisfied. When I first moved into the Luo family, she went to steal money herself but insisted on dragging me along. When caught, she shifted the blame onto me, then stepped forward to play the good person. The same was true during school. She enjoyed bullying the pretty girls, forcing me to slap them. This situation only came to an end when Luo Nian started dating Zhou Yu. Looking back now, Luo Nian never intended to let me go, not in my past life. nor in this one. At first, I would even threaten them by going on a hunger strike. Upon learning the truth, Luo's parents actually knelt before me, begging for forgiveness. Luo's mother, who had always disliked me, grabbed my sleeve and pleaded incessantly, Xin, Nian has kidney failure. I know you hate her now, but she was just too scared and acted impulsively. I'm begging you, losing one kidney won't kill you, but if Nian doesn't get your kidney, she really will die. Hearing her words, I was slightly taken aback. Luo Nian really went to great lengths, even fabricating a lie about having kidney failure to avoid raising her parents' suspicions. Seeing Luo's mother looking as humble as dust, a lump formed in my throat. Suddenly, I remembered when I first arrived at the Luo family, and Luo's mother gently wiped the wounds on my forehead from domestic violence. She said, "From now on, consider this place your own home." That was the first time I felt what is called maternal love, and it made me cry until my eyes were red. That day, Luo's mother even knocked her head until it bled in front of me. After a long while, I slowly nodded. "All right, I promise you." Upon hearing this response, Luo Nian and Zhou Yu instantly beamed with joy, completely disregarding Luo's mother, who was on the verge of fainting. "But I have one condition." As I finished speaking, my gaze fell on Zhou Yu standing behind Luo Nian. "I disagree." Luo Nian reached out and slapped me hard, angrily calling me a bitch. Upon learning that my agreement was conditional on Zhou Yu taking care of me, Luo Nian immediately exploded upon hearing this, declaring she would never give me any opportunity to take advantage. "Nian, this is a matter of your life. It's just a man. At worst, Mom can find you another one. For your sake, your dad and I have even done illegal things. Don't be willful." After being scolded by her mother, Luo Nian opened her mouth to argue, but upon meeting Zhou Yu's warning gaze, she bit her lower lip, stomped her foot in frustration, and left, perhaps afraid of exposing his own intentions. Zhou Yu ignored Luo Nian's screams and untied me. He even arranged for me to stay in the Luo family's small storage room. Faced with Zhou Yu's attentiveness, Luo Nian was extremely displeased, but every time she spoke up, she would be scolded by her mother. "He's even willing to donate a kidney for you. Can't you be a little more generous?" Now, Luo Nian's status plummeted. I had intended to find an opportunity to leave, but I accidentally overheard Zhou Yu's phone call. "Don't worry, I've definitely arranged everything properly here. As soon as the contact person arrives, Sir's health will quickly improve." In the darkness, Zhou Yu hunched over, his tone full of respect and flattery. Under the moonlight, I clearly saw Zhou Yu's severed finger exposed in the air after he hung up the phone. My brow twitched, and I silently turned on the miniature camera. After that day, I changed my strategy. In my previous life, these two made me suffer so much. I must make them taste the feeling of living a fate worse than death. So, I started wearing revealing clothes at home. I deliberately walked by when Luo Nian and Zhou Yu were being intimate. As I expected, Luo Nian's suspicious nature soon became unbearable for Zhou Yu. That night, Zhou Yu pushed open the door to the storage room, still holding an unfinished beer in his hand. After listening to his complaints, I suppressed the churning in my stomach and leaned softly against his chest, my fingertips tracing circles. I spoke in a sweet, coquettish voice. "Brother Zhou is such a gentle person. It's Nian who doesn't know how to cherish you." His hand holding the wine bottle paused, and he flipped over, pinning me beneath him. Just as his lips were about to touch mine, the door was kicked open by Luo Nian. "Bitch," Luo Nian, her eyes bloodshot, yanked me up. She reached out to strike me, but Zhou Yu, his face filled with rage, grabbed her arm and shoved her back forcefully. She fell to the ground just like that. Nian, you've misunderstood me." I hid behind Zhou Yu, my delicate voice only fueling Luo Nian's displeasure. "You bitch, I'm going to kill you." "Ah." Luo Nian covered her cheek in disbelief, looking at Zhou Yu with a frantic gaze. "You hit me, Zhou Yu, you hit me for a bitch." The next second, Luo Nian seemed to go mad, her sharp nails leaving several bloody scratches on Zhou Yu's face. In the end, it was Luo's parents, awakened by the noise, who stepped in to stop the commotion, bringing an end to the farce. Seeing that Luo Nian still refused to let it go, Zhou Yu's gaze turned icy as he whispered a warning in her ear. "Don't forget what day is coming up in a few days." As she spoke, Luo Nian seemed to recall something terrifying, trembling all over. Finally, she glared at me fiercely and sneered, "Let's see how long you can keep up this arrogance." Several days passed in a flash, and the so-called contact person finally appeared. When Luo's parents saw that the doctor was from country Y, they immediately became wary. "Nian, A kidney transplant must be done at a major hospital. How can you just find some random foreigner? Listen to us, we should still go find a trustworthy expert. Luo Niannian irritably avoided her mother's outstretched hand and locked both of them in the room. Don't say a word, if you don't want me to go to jail. Shut up. Perhaps they hadn't expected their usually gentle and kind daughter to change so drastically, leaving Luo's parents somewhat stunned. Chen Xian, don't be afraid, it's just a kidney removal, it'll be over quickly. Listen, is that even human language? Kidney removal? Nian Nian, didn't you say you were getting a kidney transplant? Why do I feel like you're lying to me? Could it be that you're not sick, and you're actually trafficking organs? As soon as these words were spoken, Luo's mother, locked in the room, pounded on the door anxiously, trying to dissuade her. Nian Nian, we mustn't do anything foolish. If you need money, just tell mom. This is illegal. Nian Nian, Luo Niannian, did you hear me? Stop it. Amidst the anxious cries of Luo's mother, the Y country person was clearly displeased. He raised his hand and slapped Luo Niannian across the face, causing her mouth to bleed. She could only cover her face and apologize with her head bowed. Brother Zhou, I don't want to die. Can you help me, please? I suppressed the fear within me as much as possible, capturing all the key figures in the room on camera. Help you? Then who will help me? Zhou fiercely removed his gloves, revealing his severed finger. Chen Xian, all of this is your fault. Who told you to persuade us to go and recognize our relatives? If we hadn't gone to Country Y, we wouldn't have been locked in dog cages and tortured by that old man, we wouldn't have lost our fingers resisting, and we wouldn't have become his lackeys. But it doesn't matter, as long as I deliver your kidney, which can save his life, I'll receive a large sum of money and never have to live a life where I can't even afford rent again. I swallowed my saliva, just about to speak. I was immediately tied up by the burly man from Country Y, who said in English, "It's too noisy here, take him back to Country Y to harvest the kidney." Zhou Yu and Luo Niannian exchanged glances and finally nodded in agreement. Just as we were about to step out the door, the sound of police sirens blared. Immediately, Luo Niannian and the other person thought of nothing but to flee, yet both were forced back by the Y country man who held a gun to their heads. Just like that, the police quickly surrounded the Luo residence. After a series of fights, the Y country man was ultimately shot dead. Only I remained tied up, along with Luo Niannian and Zhou Yu, who were left dumbfounded. What's going on? When the police arrived, they saw a scene of chaos and Luo's parents frantically knocking on the door. I was about to speak when Luo Niannian, without me noticing, tugged at the corner of my clothes. Her eyes were filled with pleading, and her fingers kept tapping on my lower back, a secret signal we used to use, meaning, help her. I slightly curved my lips, and to Zhou Yu's disbelief, Luo Niannian and I accused in unison, "Officer, it was him who kidnapped us and wanted to take our kidneys." Chapter 8. Zhou Yu was instantly dumbfounded. Who would have thought that Luo Niannian, who was always so love-struck, would actually turn against him? You're talking nonsense, Luo Niannian, you bitch, don't you dare try to pin this on me. Officer, this bitch is with me, don't just arrest me and let her go. However, Zhou Yu's rebuttal was seen by the police as a desperate attempt. In the end, all of us went to the police station to give statements, and after a series of investigations, Luo Niannian was released. After all the connections with Country Y were made by Zhou Yu alone. By the time we left the police station, it was already the next morning. Luo Niannian took my hand and pretended to be moved, saying, Xian, thank you, I didn't expect you'd still be willing to help me. If it weren't for Zhou Yu being so bewitched, I would never have done this. Xian, you won't blame me, right? If I hadn't complied, the one with the severed finger might have been me. Luo Niannian wiped her tears as if she were truly the victim. She was always like this, preferring to present herself as the weak one. Whenever something went wrong, she was quicker than anyone to shift the blame. I thought she loved Zhou Yu so much. Now it seems, as long as it's tied to interests, Luo Niannian has always only loved herself. Thinking of this, a faint, ambiguous smile curled at the corner of my mouth. After this matter was settled, I could finally lie down on my bed and get some proper rest. When I saw the retouched selfie Luo Niannian posted on her social media, with the background showing Country Y, I sent the video from the micro camera into her chat window. Sure enough, her call came through the very next second. As soon as I answered, it was a frantic roar. Chen Xian, what on earth are you trying to do? Where did you get this video? And what do you mean by sending it to me? Are you trying to intimidate me? By the end, Luo Niannian's voice was noticeably trembling. My silence successfully drove Luo Niannian to the brink of madness. On the other end of the phone, she was both frantic and growling, throwing things around. She was clearly in a state of despair. Luo Niannian, do you think show you going to prison means this is over? I have many copies of this video. I helped you just to see how long you could last, living in constant fear of possibly going to jail. We were clearly the best of friends, yet you always treated me like a servant, Luo Niannian, even if it's to repay a debt of gratitude. I should have paid back what I owed your Luo family by now, but you actually wanted to trade my kidney for wealth and glory. Which made me very angry, so this video is just a warning, you'd better keep a low profile, because I don't know when this video might end up in the hands of the police. After saying that, without waiting for Luo Niannian to speak, I immediately hung up the phone. I poured myself a glass of wine to celebrate the revenge for my past life. During the time I disappeared, fortunately, the company did not hold me accountable. Instead, they even approved my transfer. After learning of my departure, Luo Niannian frantically called me. Without exception, all calls were blocked. Having lived 2 lives, this was the first time I felt so relaxed. At the age of 18, I thought Luo Niannian was my salvation, rescuing me from that home filled with bloodshed and violence. At the age of 28, I finally understood that the so-called salvation can only come from myself. A week later, I received a call from Luo's mother. She pleaded with me to let Luo Niannian go. Because of that video, Luo Niannian lived in agony every day, and even accidentally hurt Luo's father out of overwhelming fear. I coldly replied, "Oh," and hung up the phone. What does it matter to me whether they live or die? Soon, it was the day of Zhou Yu's court hearing. I deliberately posted a story online about narrowly escaping death. It caught the attention of many netizens, with occasional comments from people with foreign IP addresses. Seeing this, I immediately curved my lips. Luo Niannian, the game isn't over yet. What comes next is my gift to you. I specifically sent the sentencing result of Zhou Yu to Luo Niannian. It is said that her condition is getting worse and worse, and she even has to hold a knife while sleeping at night, but I paid no attention, instead throwing myself wholeheartedly into the business of the new company. With the regrets from my past life, I became even more serious, and everyone said I was a workaholic, but only I knew how precious this second chance was to me. That day, I left work and headed home as usual, but at the company entrance, I saw the frail figure of Luo Niannian. Her face was pale, and she stubbornly stared at me. "Chen Xian, what do I have to do for you to let me go? I know I was wrong, please let me go, okay? In the future, I don't care how you try to steal my boyfriend, I just beg you to let me go and delete that post." Her words instantly pulled me back into the scene from my past life. Back then, she did the same thing, using the power of public opinion to ruin my job and completely turn me into someone everyone despised. "If you don't delete the post, I'll go die right now." Luo Niannian glared at me with reddened eyes and then ran toward the rooftop of the company building. Just as I guessed, Why Country had learned about Luo Niannian's betrayal. Whether it's out of venting anger or covering up her own secrets, Luo Niannian is definitely the target of murder. Looking at the dark circles under her eyes, she probably hasn't had a good night's sleep in a long time. However, I am quite satisfied with this outcome. Keeping someone on the verge of collapse living in fear is the best revenge against her. I was lost in thought when Luo Niannian, dressed in a white dress, stood on the rooftop, giving off the feeling that she might jump at any moment. Isn't Chen Xian the new executive? Who would have thought she's also a bitch who steals other people's boyfriends behind the scenes? Exactly. If you ask me, that girl is really pitiful. Tisk, Chen Xian is still so calm. If someone dies, she probably won't be able to survive in this industry anymore. The crowd's chattering discussion quickly sealed my guilt. They are always like this, only believing what they see with their own eyes. Thinking of this, I turned my head and retorted coldly, "She wouldn't dare to die. How could a smuggler capable of kidnapping and kidney harvesting die so easily?" The crowd erupted in an uproar. Seeing that they didn't believe me, I borrowed the megaphone from the security guard and shouted toward Luo Niannian on the rooftop, "If you want to die, no one will stop you. It must be unbearable to be followed around all day, and it must be agonizing to live in constant fear of your crimes being exposed. Luo Niannian, the torment you've endured is far more than just a fraction of what I've suffered. You might as well look behind me. Those people are also waiting for you to die quickly." As the words fell, Luo Niannian on the rooftop grew even more terrified. Just as she was about to jump down, her foot slipped, and she was scared half to death. She begged the rescue workers to save her life. Soon, Luo Niannian was rescued. With red eyes, she glared at me fiercely. "Ha ha ha, from today on, you will become the target of condemnation across the entire internet." Chen Xian, I won. Under her triumphant gaze, I remained silent. She thought she could bring me down with public opinion, unaware that my words had successfully piqued the curiosity of netizens. Everyone was busy digging into her past, leaving no time to condemn me. After that day, Luo Nianyan never came to see me again. However, I occasionally saw videos online of Luo Nianyan being followed by several Y countrymen. After learning about this, Luo's mother rushed over and found me. Full of apologies, she knelt directly before me, humbly begging, Xin, Nianyan has done many wrong things, and it's all my fault as a mother for not raising her properly. I know you are a kind-hearted child. Nianyan has realized her mistakes now. Could you let bygones be bygones and spare Nianyan, just for the sake of the bond our family has shared over the years? I'm begging you as your aunt. I looked at the white hair at her temples with a complicated expression. There was a time when I truly considered her family, but they only saw me as Luo Nianyan's dog. I am very grateful for their kindness in taking me in, but that debt of gratitude was long ago exhausted by Luo Nianyan. What remains is only endless hatred. Auntie, those who do wrong must be punished. If the police hadn't arrived in time back then, I would have been dead long ago. So, I will never forgive in this lifetime, and I will make her remember forever the sins she has committed. What a sin, Mrs. Luo slapped her thigh, rubbing her red and swollen eyes as she cried in remorse. I heard Luo Nianyan's name again 3 months later. Online, there was a surge in the trend of traveling to country Y, and my little assistant spent all day holding her phone, her eyes filled with envy. Boss, this country Y is just perfect for shooting post-apocalyptic style photos, and the tour guide is a beauty too. Just thinking about this kind of trip is so interesting. Catching a glimpse of the drastically changed Luo Nianyan on the assistant's phone, her gaze darkened slightly. What is she up to again? Country Y is covered in feces and urine everywhere. And you like that too? Let's not even talk about the environment. There are a lot of human traffickers over there. Who knows, the beautiful streamer you're watching might be specifically involved in that line of work. Upon hearing this, the assistant instantly switched the interface, shaking their head in fear. They said, then forget it, I was just thinking about it. Afterward, I kept an eye out and discovered that not only had Luo Nianyan and the others used the money for plastic surgery, but their entire style had also undergone a drastic change. Most importantly, they started promoting online the trend of traveling to country Y and encountering wealthy individuals. Based on my preliminary investigation, I was already certain that Luo Nianyan was involved in human trafficking, but the specifics remained unknown to me, so I reported this live stream room. I also anonymously sent all the video footage from that time to the police. Not long after, Luo Nianyan became a fugitive. Upon learning of this, Luo's father suffered a sudden heart attack and died. Luo's mother was even more unable to hold her head up in front of the neighbors and had to move to the countryside, where she remained in a state of mental confusion all day long. As for Luo Nianyan, it is said that she fled to country Y. By the time the police found her, all that remained was a pile of mangled flesh. According to the investigation, it was likely the work of country Y's criminal elements. After several rounds of police statements, I was finally able to put this matter behind me. Because of this incident, I was exposed by netizens and started sharing some knowledge points online. My future has only just begun. I am very grateful for my decisive self back then and also thankful for the opportunity given to me by fate. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.